Alright, what's poppin', people? Today we got May tier shifts, and I'm thinking at this point, there's a chance we're going back to the old, or not the old, but the normal tiering pattern of tier shifts only happening every 3 months, the big ones. So we'll see if that ends up being true. I asked Marty about it kind of recently, and he said he wanted to ask tier leaders how we wanted to handle it, so I'm assuming I'll be asked that sooner or later. But we got some tier shifts to cover. And I'm honestly a mixture of happy and scared. You'll see why real quick. As always, if you've been enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. We'd like to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so hey, you want to help out? Help out. We're about a quarter of the way there, so I think we can do it. But let's talk about these tier shifts. So let's first talk about Pokemon that left NU. There's not any except Floatzel. And this isn't really too big of a change. Really what this just means is Manual Rain in NU is going to go back to being just the Quillfish, Golduck as your two best options, which from my experience is frankly not too bad. Floatzel outside of Rain was very, 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 very seldom seen. There's the sample team we have, shouts Taki. But other than that, it's not really a mon that anyone was using outside of Rain because it's just kind of unimpactful. Not really that good of a Pokemon outside of Rain because you're just not that strong, even with Wave Crash. And that mon really, really, really needs to dedicate its Terra for it to make progress. Because otherwise you're looking at getting walled by Vaporeon or walled by Quillfish for the entirety of the game. And even then you're still walled by Lurantis and Appleton because you're probably not running Ice Spinner. Because you really want Aqua Jet lest you get revenge killed by every common fast mon in the format. So, not a huge change. Really, all we see from the UU changes with Kilowattrel and Floatzel is that Rain is clearly very, very good again. And with Greninja dropping as well, I would not be shocked if we see tiering action on Rain and UU. We had already seen some people kind of calling out for that, and I think Greninja just adds to that. It could also just be Greninja on its own is broken and they ban it. But, if there was ever a time for them to ban Rain, it'd probably be now. RU, I mean, the drops for RU are pretty disgusting when you consider RU. A lot, from what I've at least heard, is RU has a lot of hyper offense being run, because a lot of the top Pokemon are just incredible. Revavroom being one of them, Satitan with Abomasnow, got the Aurorville stuff going on. And now they have Hawlucha, known hyper offense demon, Poltegeist, known hyper offense demon, and Iron Thorns, which I'm sure you could run on hyper offense, because it gets Dragon Dance. And those loaded dice sets are at least good enough. I'm sure it's a good mon in RU, especially. So, maybe we see some... I don't even know how you take further action on Hyper Offense. And I might be... Maybe I'm thinking of old information now. Maybe HO isn't even that potent anymore. And there's just a lot of sweepers, but... Ooh, that's a lot to prep for. And I guess I'll jump back up to here real quick. Armorage to UU. That just tells me Psychic Terrain is not really being used anymore. But now let's talk about what I actually know about, and that's NU stuff. So, we talked about Floatzel leaving. Let's first talk about the mons that dropped out of NU, because these are the ones that, you know, we basically are understanding why they're not here. Charizard left NU because, as I've said the entire month, it just doesn't have a good niche. You're really just looking to maybe run it on some belly drum hyper offense type team because it lost all of its wonderful utility moves. If it had kept Roost, there probably would have been an angle for it to still be viable, even if it lost Toxic and Defog. I could have seen some 3 attack set with Roost being okay, or even Will-O-Wisp Roost 2 attacks. But the reality situation is there's just not a whole lot that it can do on a consistent game-to-game basis to justify the team slot. And if you want to run some wall breaker set, well, run Pyroar. It's faster. It's still comparably strong. Crocalor dropping because it's been tied to the hip with Stall's viability, and with Stall not being good for about 2.5 months now, there's really not a lot of reason to use Crocalor. The balance teams that try to use it a lot of the time just struggle to support it because it's so hard to prevent hazards from going up. And once you start stacking a lot of the mons that those teams do stack, you're probably better off just running a Stall team anyway. Darkspun drops out of NU because it's just very, very bad. It's a Wish Passer with 50 base HP. That's not moving me. And even though it's a Fairy type, So it literally has no competition for that. It just doesn't matter. We don't have a lot of Pokemon that you really want a fairy specifically to check. I mean, dragon types in the tier, we have Appleton, and Appleton's not running offensive sets, unless you're me. And so, you know, there's not really any Dracos you're trying to block. Fighting types, I mean, Croak just obliterates you, but Passimian... There's other options, I think, if you're looking for a Passimian check that's consistent. And the issue with Passimian is it just U-turns on you. And you don't really have any way to prevent that from happening 20 times a battle. So you're giving up momentum a lot, because Doxman's passivity just means you're not threatening anything. Everything's coming in, and it's happy to come in versus you. Honchkrow drops PU, that is the quickest ban I have ever seen a Mon get. It hasn't even happened yet, and it's already banned. That made no sense. The Mon's getting quick banned very quickly is what I'm trying to say. But it's a matter of competition. Someone asked us in the NU Discord before, because they're surprised to see Honchkrow drop, and they're like, I thought this was a, fine Pokemon. It's like, yeah, it is fine. But that's about it. It's just fine. Competition from Zoroark is just a generic Dark-type wall breaker. Zoroark is just a, more consistent. It's about as strong, but it's a ton faster. And Illusion is frankly annoying for some teams to try and contend with. Whereas then you've got Bombardier if you're looking for a Mon that shares the same typing. And I mean, they legitimately have the exact same move pool if you're looking at a physical set. Brave Bird, Sucker Punch, U-turn, and then, like, whatever last move you want. And Bombardier is just faster. And so that's just better. Also a little more versatile, so if you're looking for, like, a dark type that offers some semblance of defensive utility, you can even justify Bombardier. Spidops finally drops as well. Sticky Web's never really found good footing in NU, and there's no reason to use Spidops other than trying to use Sticky Web. And then Hisui and Zorua drops to PU because is just a meme Pokemon. Again, a group of people tried to make it rise. They were successful, and now it drops. Because, guess what they were putting their focus to instead? I was alerted to this. This is what they were trying to get to rise, but it didn't work. Nope. I mean, if Girafarig rises next month, you'll know why. Yeah, maybe we should do something about this tiering, admins. Anyhow. Pokemon that rose up into NU, we could touch on those real quick as well. Haunter and Cacturne. Cacturne has been good in NU ever since the tier started. So, the fact it took 3 months... Well, how many tier shifts? 3 tier shifts, yeah. The fact it took 3 tier shifts for it to become NU by label is just shocking. And it's an indictment on the ladder for not using more of it. But, all's well that ends well, Cacturne is officially NU. And that should also help PU, because to my understanding, Spike Stack in PU is obscenely good. And so taking one of the Spikers probably helps a little bit. Maybe they just use other ones now, but I'll pretend like we helped. And Haunter rising up, I'm a little surprised by this, because I honestly don't see much Haunter on the ladder. But it is a genuinely pretty good Pokemon in NU. Between, Nasty Plot sets, T-Spike sets, Choice Item sets, they're all just varying levels of strong. So good to see Haunter get a little more recognition. Now, let's talk about our drops. Whiscash I'll touch on very, very quickly, because Whiscash is an easy one to talk about. It does nothing useful. When it was here, last time it was used as a just dedicated entry hazard setter. With a Focus Sash maybe, Stealth Rock Spikes on some sort of hyper offense build. Occasionally I saw some bulkier sets with spikes, 3 attacks, with Icy Wind I think I remember seeing a lot of. Those never really moved me. I think really Whiscash is just going to be a mediocre option once again. It probably will stick around in NU for more than 1 tier shift. Just because it's, one of, 3 at least viable ground types in the format. But I don't expect it to have a long-term impact. You could try Dragon Dance sets, they're just too weak and too slow. You need to get 4 boosts before you're really threatening to do much of anything. And then the last one, Indeedee. This is the male one, for clarity. Yeah, that's something I've already asked to ban it. I'm already asking the council, hey, how quickly would have banned this? So Indeedee, here's the way I would put it for anyone that wonders why I'm already thinking it should be banned. And I'm not saying we're going to ban it day 1, because that'd be silly. Look at Indeedee female. It is already B+ on the VR. Now, Indeedee female has a lot of useless bulk, and what I mean by useless bulk is it's got stats allocated into bulk that should not be there. Indeedee male says, oh, I don't need that extra bulk. Give me some extra special attack. Give me some extra speed. So that's scary. It's faster. It's at base 95, meaning that you don't have to risk speed ties anymore with, like, Toxicroak. You just immediately outspeed it. You outspeed Rotom. You outspeed Bruxish. You outspeed the Oricorios. That's all really nice. It means there's just a lot less that revenge kills you. And it being stronger, look, I don't know damage calcs off the top of my hand that are relevant beyond this one. Stealth Rock up mean that Specs Indeedee, 2 shots chancy about half the time with Psyshock. So, that's scary. And in terms of there's other sets I've theory crafted, I mean, Terra Fairy with Calm Mind seems obnoxious. Because Passimian can't really ever revenge kill you then. Sucker Punch obviously becomes never a problem, whether you have terrain up or not. Zoroark now has to have Sludge Bomb if it wants to revenge kill you, and it could still, you know, mispredict. You blow back Umbreon with Stab Dazzling Gleam. CM obviously means you break Chansey really, really trivially then. Yeah. Looking like a very, very scary Pokemon. It also has Healing Wish now. It didn't have that last generation. It was exclusive to female Indeedee, but now both of them have it. So Choice Scarf sets could have literally the exact same moveset as female Indeedee and just be better because you're stronger and faster. So I don't expect that Mon to stay around very long. What I'm actually thinking it'll do is it'll cause a surge in female Indeedee usage. Because I think what's going to happen is people will use male Indeedee, think it's obscene, it'll get banned, and then they'll just start using female Indeedee, because they're going to probably want to keep their teams. You're like, well, I can just change this to the other. And I'm thinking that might get people to start realizing female Indeedee's pretty good, which y'all shouldn't be shocked hearing that from me. I've been speaking pretty positively of female Indeedee for a while now. So we'll see if I'm right. But I hope y'all enjoyed this quick coverage of the tier shifts. Naturally, I can only comment so much about other tiers and use what I play the most of, but I hope this video is pretty informative. Please give us these 2 Pokemon soon. But I hope y'all enjoyed this. I hope y'all are having a good time. I'll catch you next time. Peace.